Justin Fields looked like, man, he's that franchise quarterback because he stood in the pocket when he needed to. He delivered when he needed to. The game wasn't too big for him. He scrambled when he needed to. And I think Coach Nagy said he looked at Justin Fields, towards clutch time during the game, and Justin gave him that look like, let's go. And you don't get that too often. Usually you get that from your Tom Brady's or your veteran guys. But when you got a guy who's cool and calm and collective, in the heat of the moment, like a Justin Fields, he always going to be ready to go. Again, he's been doing this since the Ohio State games. He always been that cool, kind of collective guy, never worry about nothing too much. Let's move on to the next play. And you can just tell how his teammates kind of rally behind him. So, yeah, they got something good. They mean the Chicago Bears, man. They got a bright future with a kid. As long as they keep building around him, man, it's going to be real nice for the Chicago Bears.
I want to go back to Marsh in just a second here, Ike. So please remind me if I forget. I do want to go back to that. Sticking on Justin Fields, though, I think he's legit. I'm excited to see what the Bears can do as they build around him. There were two plays that really stuck out to me, Ike. And you tell me this all the time. You say, there's a reason why a player is a first-round pick. One was he had a completion to Jimmy Graham where he's facing pressure. He had to step up in the pocket. He takes a shot from a defensive lineman of the Steelers, and he delivers in a very tight window to Jimmy Graham that led to a score for Chicago. That was one play. And then the touchdown pass that he had to Darnell Mooney in the corner of the end zone where he extends the play by utilizing his legs, gets a little bit outside the pocket, keeps his eyes downfield, and is able to complete a pass. And I go back to there's a reason why he's a first-round pick, and you see what he can do, showing flashes in the last few weeks for Chicago. So if you're a Bears fan, I know you're probably a little bit disappointed, and you might feel a little bit robbed considering all the penalties that the Bears had. But you've got to be excited about Justin Fields as your first-round draft pick out of Ohio State.
Yeah, 100%, man. Justin looking like a franchise quarterback, man. When I look at young guys, I always look at a wow. Like, how can this kid wow me? And, Lamar Jackson, he always going to wow you. Joe Burrow, he's also a cool, calm, and collective guy. Some of his passes, he's just going to wow you. Or Justin Herbert, his arm strength, he's just going to wow you. Or Patrick Mahomes, he's just going to wow you. So, you just – and I didn't see it or we didn't see it at the time, Mark, but you was just hearing it from your offensive lineman in training camp. They get to see this guy 24/7 every day. And when you got guys talking about the quarterback and when you got guys on defense talking about, hey, man, this kid going to be special, it's about that time because players recognize players. But, yeah, I'm so glad they didn't wait or hesitate to play Justin Fields, man, because this is going to move the Chicago Bears in the right direction.
And even if it's under a new head coach, maybe a new general manager after this season. And this game came down to penalties, Ike, because the Bears actually outgained Pittsburgh from an offensive standpoint, but you have 12 penalties for 115 yards if you're Chicago. And that Cassius Marsh, whether he bumped the ref or not, whether the ref intentionally bumped into him, I want to give Marsh credit for this. After the game, he answered every question media members had about it. I could think of a lot of players in that situation say, no, I don't want to talk to media members. He stood up to the podium and answered every question. And I'm going to tell you what, too. Obviously, this is a Steelers show, Ike, but I can tell you this right now. It was a bogus call. It was a bogus call. And if I understand the referees and the intent behind wanting to stop the celebration for the integrity of the game, I get that. But if you're having referees determine the outcome of the game, I take issue with that.
Yeah, I know it's a Bleav It's Still a podcast, Mark, but we still got to tell the truth. So you ain't doing nothing but just telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna respect that. I felt the same way. I thought the TJ Watt call wasn't a good call, and I thought the Marsh call wasn't a good call either. That's just how I think. Steelers. Hopefully they can respect how I'm thinking because deep down inside, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say in the locker room, man, we gotta wait with them two. That's what we'll say in the locker room. Like, yeah, we might say something different on camera, but from a player to a player, we're gonna be like, hey, we gotta wait with two calls. So that's a hometown discount right there. So that's just what it is. So you ain't gotta apologize, man. You just calling it how you see it. And I feel the same way. I thought it was two bad calls in those instances.
To piggyback off that, Ike, the hit, I know Alex Highsmith had at least one hit of Justin Fields, and I think Fields was hamming it up like a soccer player would. I think he was acting a little bit, but other quarterbacks in this league here, we're talking about, say it was Tom Brady back there instead of Justin Fields, He's getting the yellow flag every time.
Like everybody, all 4 of them referees throwing flags if that's the Tom Brady. But you know what? I feel like he got that Joe Burrow kind of mentality, and what I mean by Joe, I remember one of the guys hit Joe Burrow late, and Joe Burrow looked up looking for a flag, and then Joe Burrow walked up to one of the defenders, and he was like, you know what? When I start dropping these dimes and when I start going to these Pro Bowls, I'm gonna get that call. So I like that response from Joe Burrow, and I think Justin Fields the same way. Like, yeah, it might have been a little bit acting with that, and yeah, again, I thought that was kind of a late hit as well from Highsmith, but you know, Fields ain't gonna get that call. He got about 4 more years to get them kind of calls, but at the same time, yeah, he really do. At the same time, man, that's just what it is. I think he just got that personality. I think he wants to be great, and he will be great, and he understands, you know, I got to wait in line. I got to make enough plays. I got to get to the playoff. I got to establish myself to get them kind of calls.